Hey folks, welcome back. This is Lucid, and we're jumping back into the tournament finals. And last episode, we had some interesting things happening. We have Pythium and Yis fighting, and we have a 2/3v1 on Nabaa. And we also had the final fall of Atlantis, where Yis broke through the fort walls and killed everything inside of that city. So we have some messages to start off, and we can also see some rather interesting happenings in the world. Particularly, we see Vanheim getting involved, so we'll make sure to focus on that. So a message from Pythium. I forgot to tell you that Bandar and I signed a NAP 3 a couple turns ago. That's the only deal I've got. A message from Ulm. So I've been lucky that the Throne of Gaia events have occurred on the right occurred right on my armies in their direct path. I just scouted Pythium appears to be attacking Satis in the southwest. This surprises me because Satis at Enchant 5 is hard to beat, especially if you don't have poison resistant stuff. And that is an early target. Also, because you tend to lose a lot of commanders to disease early on. In any case, the invasion is scheduled to start as planned in 2 turns. The mostly heavy cav army, for now, will do most of the fighting. I'm bringing the mage priests I have, who will do some buffing and evocation support as we get deeper into Pythium territory. The northern fort's going to recruit heavy cav commanders and mini thugs with a few escorts. And hopefully he can use those for raiding and grabbing provinces more quickly. The southern fort's getting mages. And Pythium has a lot of infrastructure already down, and I don't want to waste any time sieging. And most of his... Oh, wait, is he getting sappers? Yeah, the cap's recruiting sappers. So there we go. Okay, so what I want to do is we're going to jump in first with Satis this time, because there's a lot of interesting things happening. So... just a scout here pinging this Satis fort. We have Pythium attacking over here with a very small squad, and it looks like he's going to be fluffing these troops up with luck. It appears this is going to work, but it's not at all obvious to me sitting here looking at it this is going to work. Luck is a good buff, but they don't kill very much. They're just really struggling to get through it. Okay, they finally break through. That was close. But, you know, you look at it. Lost 2 guys. Like, that's efficient. Right? Like, if he took it with more, then, yeah, he wouldn't have as many people sieging the fort. And he probably had just an... I don't know. He might have had a bit more than just enough to break it down. But he's broken it down. So presumably he's going to be... storming it now. But we have bad news for Satis over here too, because Yis has also attacked him. And Yis has a big, huge heaping pile of garbage. And I think this is 3 mercs that we'll check. Wait, is this end? Oh, Yis is attacking end. I guess he didn't ask. That's interesting. Okay, so now the reason you attack end here is to open up a pathway so that you can just come down here and take all of this shit. And you're sitting in these lakes, and end is just cursing you from the banks of the lakes. And that would be quite scary, because end clearly has ambitions on, like, at least this part of the map, and having Yis owning these lakes is like a dagger through your empire, where he can just exert all sorts of raiding pressure from those core provinces of the lakes. But it's also very likely that Yis is wanting to go for this throne, and possibly, and maybe even first, for this coastal fort. So Yis probably not very interested in having peace with Pythium or Satis or End. Just doesn't care. Like, hey, you guys can't attack me underwater. Go get wrecked. And it appears that that's basically what's happening. So These guys are building. No, they're just patrolling. Now, did the I thought we saw some. Oh, didn't we see some elf attacks? What is this? Oh, that's just a scout. Okay. So, I was thinking the elves attacked Satis, but they haven't. They have not. It was only a... But this was a ping. This was not getting patrolled out. They're like, hey, what's up? Okay, so let's keep looking. Anything else on the Yis front? Because we've kind of talked about Yis. We've done Satis now. Not really. They expanded here. Coming down, we'll cover End. We already saw this province get picked off from End. Here they're clearing up some of the Throne of Gaia Indies that had attacked them. They got attacked by more Throne of Gaia Indies over here and did not survive it, though there's hardly anything left from the throne. Throne event spawns. But if you look at it, man, their grasp. I guess they have a throne coming up here. Which, why wouldn't you? I mean, a fort coming up here. Why wouldn't you when you have a 200 gold province once you claim this throne? But you can see their military presence over here is quite lacking. Like getting just overrun by Indies. They got attacked here by a lumber construct. And they have this fort down here. God, they are actually pretty big. But this is important. This Highlands giving them Gog Reavers. Let's see. So Nabaa, which I think the Nabaa conflict is kind of the biggest raging conflict at the moment. Because if you recall, they're fighting End, they're fighting Jotunheim, and so let's see what happens. So they raid, and they take the province. This is one of the problems with Camel Riders, and I think if you do Camel Riders, one thing is they're stealthy, so you don't really want them to go with non-stealthy units. And you have stealthy units that can go with them with shields, like your Yan Guard. But like these guys aren't stealthy, but these guys are. So, I don't know. If you use them only alone like this, like he took the province, it's worth 68 income, but he lost 80 gold worth of dudes, you know? So it's kind of not worth. I mean, it's worth because you're denying it from your enemy, but like ideally when you run into basically no PD, 10 PD, you want to be taking it a little bit more efficiently. Here he knocks a Gog Griever off this fort adjacent to his cap, and he expands out this way, again taking this province from Jotunheim. This much cleaner. But we have Jotunheim pushing in, kills a tiny bit of PD here, then gets attacked by monster boars apparently. I'm not actually sure how that works, because normally monster boars don't attack you. You have to patrol them out. And here he's very clearly taking the province. I don't know how you patrol them out the same turn you take the province. So what we were talking about last time was if you're Nabaa, you have to make some pretty crazy plays. And unfortunately, you're not going to make those plays with Camel Riders. You're only going to make those plays, I think, with Malika or Malikets. But we'll see if he uses them. For them to come online, ideally, you're going to need a bit more research. I can't remember. Let's see if these guys have magic weapons. I can't remember. Let them get all blessed up here. They do not. I think you can kill these guys with Malikas. I mean, you have to be careful of getting smited and stuff. I think they have a holy. They don't even have a holy 3. Yeah, you could kill them with Malikas. Because yeah, okay, they're big. Oh no, they've got a Scrotty Thug in here. Cancel that. Cancel that with the Frostbrand. Yeah, because you can't do Mist Form. The Mist Form is a really important kind of ingredient in this whole thing for mitigating a lot of the otherwise high damage that's going to be coming in. Possible you could maybe under some special circumstances, still thug. Like if you got your protection really high, like they had Iron Skin, and you had some regen. I mean, it's probably possible, but the man, the Scotty makes it super hard. So I don't know, but they've got to be making crazy plays, and we're not seeing that happen yet. What did he break out with here? He has these Mukarib. Oh no, Sahir. Where are the Mukarib? Here's some Mukarib. So it looks like he was prepared for a major fight. He's got Divine Blessing going off. And I think... Let's try to see what we think he's going to do. So he's got a small communion with 2 slaves, so it's 1 magic boost. But no thugs. I think it's a bit of a mistake to not thug with Nabah. I mean, we saw the thug he had earlier, which was like the defense stacking, but was not good in an army. And this was a mistake I made when I played Ind. I did not really get Malekiths for a while, but they have built-in ethereal. They have really, really good paths. You're going to need some research before they really come online, but they're really good. They are top-end thugs. They don't have a ton of HP, but that tends to not always matter for them. They're very competent without that. Okay, so anyway, that's what's going on in this part of the world. Let's go see Ulmish preparations. So Ulm is preparing to go to war with Pythium, and it looks like he's going to attack either this turn or next. Meanwhile, Pythium has most of their stuff over here in Satisland. Now, this actually is pretty interesting. If you look at, and I don't think Ulm is thinking about this, but if you look at what this war is going to do, it is going to trigger Pythium to, like, this, getting invaded by this amount of Ulm stuff is probably going to be a near existential threat for Pythium. Now, there's a fair amount of territory that Ulm can take before he gets to the core Pythium heartlands. But that, that'll take him a couple turns maybe. But I don't think you're Pythium and you say, well, let's continue marching into Satis where we could get assassinated and foul vapor trapped and horde of skeleton. Like, let's go ahead and take our victories where we can get them, get this fort, and come back and deal with them. And you're like, okay. But then what is the consequence of that? Well, the consequence of that means, well, one, he may get this fort taken back from him by Satis. But it also means Satis is now going to be thinking he's in a 2v1, distracted, like dealing with Pythium, while these friendly little sea elves come in and probably take all of his shit. Because, I mean, Yiss can clearly see this, right? Like, this is not hidden from Yiss. So, yeah. Oh, gosh. I mean, can you imagine, like, if Yiss gets all of this and has just a dagger into this territory, it will be horrible. Okay. Anything to see on the Elven front, the land elves? We have a battle going for a throne. So we have a bunch of Vans with a bunch of Einhairs. We have... Maybe Epstein did kill himself. Are you saying he wasn't murdered? And yeah, that verse... Is this Conquest of Elysium? Armies and armies of deer. Oh boy. And we've got some vine men. We've got some frogs with sticks and some boars. Very ethnically diverse throne. But we're going to answer some important questions, like how many critters can Vans kill? And I think the answer is quite a lot. Now, they are doing swarm spam, which is, it's kind of okay against elves, because you get, you get that harass penalty. Like, this guy must die, right? Like, there's no way this guy lives. This one guy up at the front. They've got pretty crazy stats, and these things are so easy to kill, they easily get blood surged. Again, reminding ourselves of the bless. Attack +2, magic weapon, shock resistance, poison. So a lot of resistances, defense 2, strength, blood surge. Okay. We've got some of the critters in full retreat. Yeah. And these elves have gone into full blender mode. So how much did we lose? My guess is under 10, probably like 3. Yep. Nailed it. He got attacked by monster boars here. There's a Vantage Rot here. I wonder, this guy was probably outside searching. I don't think this was Thug Kit. Oh yeah, he just scripted to retreat. Ooh, an Air 4 Vantage Rot. Yeah, you definitely want to script him to retreat. Those guys are super valuable. And that seems to be all that's happening in Elfland. They've got a little colony over here. I didn't even notice this. They've been completely cut off from the rest of Vanheim by the forces of nature. That's very funny. So I'm expecting Vanheim is going to come liberate the rest of his kingdom from all of the animals which have taken it over. In theory, pretty easy as a thug nation to reclaim stuff taken by indies. In practice, you got to be careful. You don't want your thugs to get trampled by earth elementals and spammed to death with swarm by these Ivy Kings. So a little tricky. And then we'll keep... We've already talked about End, I think. Have we? We've talked about End a little bit. I don't think we've really... Yeah, we've talked about them some. They've got some forces here on the south. I think they're just basically doing a slow kill on Nabah. But they're now getting a critical mass of God Grievers. And God Grievers are so scary. They do so much damage. And they don't have magic weapons or anything, so it's possible Malika could thug them, but man, it would be hard. It'd be pretty hard. Okay. I feel too, like, if you're in a position like Nabah and you have to survive, like, one of the ways, like I was saying, the way out of this has to be some super efficient thugging. And you may not have had enough, you may not have enough mages or whatever to research the things you need to research to do that thugging. So, generally, like, maybe you get alteration and stuff, but you might not have construction 4, which for Nabah is a pretty important milestone. You can do construction 2 thugging, but like construction 4 gets way better. But there's going to be a lot of people on the board who are going to be interested in keeping you alive if you're in a 2v1. So talk to any of them, see if they can forge you stuff. Like Olm probably is at construction 4 now. Maybe not. I mean, we know he went Legions of Steel, so he's at least at 3. He might have stopped to go enchantment, not gotten 4. But yeah, there's probably somebody who's construction 4 by turn 21. And if they can make you like a Ring of Regen or whatever it is, and you're going to have some kind of gems to trade them, one really good thug can start to turn things around. Okay. So we talked about Vanheim. We'll come down and we'll look at Vanaroos. Vanaroos also having the PvE experience. Oh my god, that's so funny. Look at this. Look at this. So Vanaroos like, okay, we've got to quickly take our stuff back from these wretched indies. So he has some mages come out and they're going to do elemental spam. Like an efficient way. He doesn't have troops in the region. He doesn't want this province to stay in the in the hands of Indies too long. But then more Indies come the same turn he's out of gems. And it's the exact same type. It's the exact same type. Battle 2.0 with no gems. Oh god. The RNG. Yeah, it's always, to be fair, this is all Sakune's doing. He took this Throne of Gaia and everybody is paying for it, but he wants his nature gems. So there you go. There you go. And we recall he's got the keep. Where's the keeper of the bridge right now? He can't still be here. He probably took the throne, then site searched. Okay, here's the keeper of the bridge. So he's probably about to head underwater over here. Get these. That'll be a nice little pickup for him. We'll probably piss some of his neighbors off a little bit, but what are they going to do? And I'm not really sure. Let's think a little bit about what his first war target could be. He could go on the elves. I don't know if it's a terribly decisive matchup. I forget. We can check real quick. I think they have all the resistances on these guys, which means a lot of the elemental spam is not going to be, the best. Yeah, shock, poison, cold. Oh, he didn't have fire. So, they can do fire elemental spam, as we saw down here. But, yeah, these guys, you can get fire 2 randoms. And that would probably be pretty good against the elves, the northern elves. I don't know. It's not like a super decisive matchup. He could get in with Ulm on attacking Pythium, and then Pythium would potentially be in a 3v1. That would potentially be pretty darn decisive. It would leave Ulm a lot to get, but it would leave him maybe 3 forts. So he would get a lot of really good provinces, but not a lot. He would get a few really good provinces if he jumped in on this war. But he would also be attacking closer to Pythium's capital, potentially. So I don't know. I mean, one option is, if you're Vanarus, is you sit on the border and you wait for them to have one good fight. And because you're elves, they can't really see you. And then you just jump in conveniently when... just so long as Pythium didn't... the only situation where you wouldn't jump in, if this was your plan, would be if Pythium just had a decisive victory. If it was a Pyrrhic victory at all, you can just jump in and take these forts. And I don't know if we haven't really gotten much communication. We got some communication from Vanarus. But did I read these? Yeah, we did. But I can't remember if he has a nap with Pythium. I cannot remember that. I think we know he doesn't, because I think we got a message. Yeah, we got a message from Pythium saying he's got a nap with Bandarlog, and that's his only nap. So, yeah, if Ulm attacks, and then Vanarus gets in on it and attacks this way, he'll be in good shape. Especially if he waits for Pythium to fully commit to Ulm. Alternatively, he can jump in and attack Ulm. But this seems to be a bit more awkward. There's not good pathing to get at Ulm. And this land is way more valuable. God, look at that. That's 300 gold just from that. It's huge. But anyway, they probably have a few different plays. Could they attack Bandarlog? Maybe. He was pretty confident using his god. But Bandarlog also is not committed, right? So if he fights Bandarlog, it's going to be a very honorable 1v1, which often can mean lots of attrition, even if you win. But those are basically his options. He can go for the elves, he can go for Ulm, he can go for Pythium, or he can go for the monkeys. I think the safest play, unfortunately, is, I hate saying it, but is going for the 2v1 on Pythium. It could be. In terms of scaling, Bandarlog scales pretty well. Like Astral Nations with cheap Astral Mages tend to scale pretty well into the mid game and late mid game. So it could be he wants to get after Bandarlog before any of that happens. Okay, now speaking of Bandarlog, let's come over here and look at them. They've got, and so it was interesting because at the beginning of this conflict, Bandarlog sniped some of the Nabah provinces. And I was like, oh man, that sucks for Nabah. But they haven't really been more aggressive than that. And so End setting some pretty, like if you look at Nabah here, this is territory that was contestable between Bandarlog and Nabah. Like, it's not decided who in expansion should have gotten this. And you have End over here like, oh, this is going to be ours. So if I were Bandarlog, if I were watching this war as Bandarlog, I would have decided, I think, that Nabah is probably going to be the losing party here. Not only because it's a 2v1, but because, and again, I have perfect vision, whereas in game I have no scouts and have to usually talk to people. But yeah, it does not look like Nabah's going to make it. So if that is the case, you probably want to go ahead and vulture. Otherwise, one of the would-be conquerors will take it from you. Now, what's interesting is he's got some Tiger Riders. What we do not see is we don't see a ton of white ones. We've got a few white ones over here. He's kind of under siege. He's going with an archer play. He's got all these Atavi archers, and some of this I just have to say I disagree with. I mean, I guess he's thinking if I get rushed by elves, arrows are pretty good against elves, and that's kind of true. But he's also getting the shit archers, though he's getting the ones that you can mass more easily. The best archers for Bandarlog are the light Bandar warriors. I know they don't look like archers, but you get strength buffs on these guys and flaming arrows if you have it on your god. They get pretty gnarly, because they get 2 attacks per round. But he's getting these Atavi archers, which are super cheap to mass. So I guess it's okay. But then like an air thug comes in, and what are you gonna do? So anyway, he had really interesting plays in expansion, and a pretty cool bless and like balls of steel. So it'll be interesting to see what he's got planned for the mid game. He's got this throne, the Throne of the Moon, which is on the menu. So maybe he's preparing to take that, and he wants a big boatload of archers. But I'm not seeing like huge armies or anything like if I were a neighbor that I would be scared of attacking into. The other thing he has to, I think all the ocean neighbors, Pythium, Bandarlog, Satis, and End, they all have to be careful of if they get into a war, they also need to be able to defend their flank from just an outrageous elf invasion. Which is just terrifying to think about. Terrifying to think about. So anyway, that's that. We've covered this conflict, and I think we've covered Ulm attacking these. Ulm's actually having the PvE experience. He's getting attacked by barbs. He's getting attacked by Ivy Kings. These squads that are coming in, we've got this one which is filled with Black Knights. We've got this one which has crossbowmen. And we've got this one which has Black Knights, Guardians, and Hoburg crossbow. Oh, that's so nice having Hoburg crossbows home. Yeah, this is pretty scary. I think if you're Pythium, you know, though. Let's go ahead and go to the next turn, turn 22. Okay, maybe Epstein did kill himself, has claimed a throne. For some reason, I'm only infiltrating Ulm. I think I turned everybody else off and I haven't paid attention. Whoops, sorry, Ulm. You get like a tiny bit of unrest from infiltrating, so if Ulm loses, he can blame that on me. Okay, so coming over here, The indie attacks are so intense. Like, look at this. We'll start with Ulm. Did we get a message from him? Because we've gotten a... No, we haven't. Okay. Okay, so he gets attacked by satyrs. No, this is Vanarus, though. God, I just assume this is Ulm. That's how you know it's, like, way out of Vanarus's territory. Pythium gets attacked by earth elementals. I mean, that's just brutal. Oathbound coming through. Okay. Vanarus just letting these indies know who is the boss. And he's got his Keeper of the Bridge heading underwater. I can't remember if this is the same gear. This looks like a minor gear upgrade. He's got the Mace of Eruption now. I think he had the eye shield before. And obviously he's got the Ring of the Water. And then Ring of the Warrior. That's going to be good if he bumps into an elf. You want that bonus attack in case you run into elves. Yeah. Okay. So there we go. Vanarus firmly declaring to the Indies this is his land and they need to get the hell out. And then Ulm has attacked Pythium. So Ulm actually didn't get attacked by that many Indies this turn. It was just his neighbors that were near him that got attacked. So that's actually good news for him. So Summon Earth Power and then Legions of Steel. And it's going to be 0 losses. And then here he attacks. A lot of Legions of Steel. I think everybody got hit by that, so that was good. And we then get into like an odd logistical situation, because if you look at it, this single province here is a choke point for the entire invasion. Because Ulm does not have this. I wonder, if I were Ulm, I would be really inclined to take this. But Vanarus probably is not going to want to give up anything, because they're not terribly big. But this would just give them a lot more logistical flexibility for where they're going to come through, and not come through a single choke point. My guess is what's going to happen. These guys are probably going to raid up, and then everybody else is going to funnel in. At least this isn't a wasteland. The worst thing that can happen, not the worst, but you know what I mean, is you're doing an invasion, you have to go through a single choke point, and that choke point is like a, 200 population, like 30 supply province, and all your guys starve on invasion. Not a great way to start something like that off. Anyway, we'll have to see what they've got, what Ulm has planned, but we can see Pythium getting a lot of troops, and I don't recall him having this much troop production in previous turns, so he must have seen kind of the writing on the wall with these Ulmish troops on the border, so I doubt he's terribly surprised. And these forts clustered together, this is something I've kind of talked about before in videos, but like forts project around them an area of control, and this isn't like a game mechanic concept really. It's just like if you're, it becomes obvious when you get raided by indies, like, far away from your forts, it takes you forever to get them back. It's because you're a long way away from your supply base and where your troop production is, and your mage production, and like especially mages, because mages you want to have researching, and you don't want to send them like 5 turns away and then have them come back. But this area where Ulm is going to probably pretty quickly want to come into potentially can have a lot of Pythium mage support. And we already saw how Pythium was using his mages. He's got a lot of point buffing. Now, I don't know. I think he has to get, because Pythium does have access to gladiators. And they can get these Urtarius. And so I think kind of the play, if you're Pythium here, is you get a crap ton of Urtarius, just as many as these forts can make, and you take all of your mages and you point buff everything with luck, and you send them in against Ulm. And I think that holds. especially if you do that in conjunction with a PD dump. But it'll be interesting because I don't know. Like, he doesn't have any Rotarius, and I don't think very. And if he has a Mind Burn Communion, he may be able to have a hold here, right? Like, go ahead and put dudes. So if Ulm goes ahead and moves here this turn, that would be pretty good for Ulm because, next turn, once his main army's arrived, there can't be like a Pythium PD dump and Pythium moving in. He'll have already kind of conquered the main point where Pythium can reinforce from 2 forts. If he goes north, which is what I was kind of thinking I would do if I were Ulm, because it's better rating, and this isn't like his main party. He's probably worried if he pushes in. This party is small enough. I don't know. If there's a mage commitment and troops this turn, they might be able to defend here. But anyway, if he goes north, then potentially Pythium can do an all-in here next turn, like because he can reinforce both of these provinces here and here with stuff from these 2 provinces here and here, right? So then have major armies and then do a major reinforcement. This would be like an epic hold potentially, because especially God, if Ulm moves up and then he moves all his troops in here, it's the most predictable move to come here. So if you're Pythium, you just all in on a defense. So I don't know. And I'm not even sure what the right move is. I think the right move, if you're Ulm, if he had perfect vision like I do, I think the right move is you attack here, which is, like I was saying, it's against my initial inclination when I'm just like looking at this part of the map. Because by all-inning here, Pythium is going to want to wait a turn, probably. That's my guess. And if he takes this, then at least when there's an all-in, because Ulm's going to be reinforcing too, and he could even split. He could take this and maybe send a tiny contingent up north. But if he takes this and there's an all-in here, then he's going to be doing it at least where he can do a bit of PD. But Pythium is going to be able to bring a shit ton of mages, which is scary, I think. I mean, because in theory, he can have body, ethereal, and luck on most of his troops. And that makes them very hard to kill when you don't have magic weapons. He will have some ways of getting through ethereal, like I think he has iron darts and stuff. But let's come down and look at Pythium now. So Pythium went and stormed this fort. Let's see if there's anything inside. Just a hero duel. And he's got a little communion. So he's got... Let's go ahead and take a look at his communion here. So he's got the communicants, which are super cool. For those of you who don't know, Middle-aged Pythium, they get Therag communicants. And they are units that act as communion slaves. They're not commanders. So you don't take up a commander recruitment slot when you get them. Where's the... Can I not see... Okay, this guy's a communion master. 15 communion slaves. Hot damn. I wonder why everybody else hasn't jumped in. A soul slay. Ooh. Yeah, so if Pythium... I think this is probably what you try to do as Pythium. Is... You have like a line of Astral Ones, or like your cheap Therogs. Try to get luck on as many troops as you can at the beginning. They'll jump in later as Communion Masters. And then you have, I guess, some of your Therogs, like your better guys. Jump in at the beginning, just start dropping Soul Slays. You probably have the ones buffing your front line jump in as a mix of masters and slaves, depending on, like, you don't want to burn out your communion. But, yeah. I mean, can you imagine trying to kill a line of lucked, body ethereal, Pythium infantry with the Soul Slay communion just ringing in the background? Does not sound good to me. So this will be interesting. So he's taken this. He's continued raiding, so he was not overly concerned about Ulm attacking him, even with all those troops on the border, that he was going to pull back. No, he's pressing onwards. But Satis has kind of gone on the offensive a bit, Let's take a look at this squad he's got coming out. He's got a bunch of these Falchineers who've got 2 attacks, which is nice. He's got some elite warriors who have 2 attacks also, but one of them is very, very good. Let's talk for a moment about why. I know we've talked about this ad nauseum, but I want to, because Falchineers, I don't want to say they're, sorry, I hit the mic. I don't want to say they're not viable. You have 2 18 slashing damage attacks that are 11 attack. They also are going to take a lot of resources, so you cannot mass Falchineers the same way you can mass. We should probably do this on the screen where I can actually see it. That way I won't misspeak. 17 resources, 18 recruitment points versus these guys, 9 resources, so half. Now, the elite warriors do cost more gold, but they do have less upkeep. The important thing is 18 slashing versus 20 piercing. And 20 piercing is going to be able to kill higher value targets much, much more easily. You know, like a 20 protection dude is going to get ripped apart by a 20 piercing trident. Whereas these guys will barely be doing chip damage. And then the bite is here to deal with chaff and harass. Now, what these guys are going to do better against is if you're going up against mostly archers, which we don't really have it. Maybe Bandarlog, they're making some archers, but most of his neighbors aren't making archers. But let's take a look at what he's rolling out with again. He's got the Swamp Guard who are sacred. I forget what the bless is. Ooh, a rainbow bless for garbage sacreds. Say it ain't so. Yeah, I don't really like this build. Garbage sacreds, man. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I mean, this is not a super duper cheap bless. You're getting path diversity and stuff, I guess, but I don't know. I can't see what their scales are, so I don't really know what they paid for it, but just like you can do most of the things you need to do without it. I can understand if there's a lot of fire nations in the game or air nations and you want to have the resistances, like a way to deal with fire elementals. That could make sense to me. Anyway. Yeah, so Pythium pushing in, and then we also see Yis on the attack. So Yis, it was looking like they might go for the throne. And if you recall before, they basically had just attacked with Indies. The Morvarks were nowhere to be seen. But I can't see them because I can't see Glamored units. But oh boy, are they here. So they have shown up, and this is just going to be an absolute massacre. One thing I don't think we've mentioned, but Larger is going to give them a length 4 lance. So that's going to mean they can also repel. And you see they have pretty high attack. That's going to mean they also can repel length 3 weapons. And then, yeah. So it's basically, while you're losing attack density, you're gaining a layer of defense. So now to hit them, you have to get through repel, and then defense, and then glamour. So anyway, you can see how that would be a bit tricky. So anyway, they have 1 turn popped this fort, and then they have also not settled themselves for that. They've come and taken the lake with a very large raiding force of 4 guys. They have taken, I guess there was an Empoisoner here that was not in assassin mode. That's the other thing with Morvarks, they're kind of hard to assassinate. Like, oh, I have an Empoisoner who's going to skelly spam. Oh, but I have Firebrand, commander who's going to not give a shit. And has a poison resistance bless, so that if you sling your little poison sling at me, I'm not going to give a shit. So, yeah, you can see Yis making power plays here. He's not coming in like Mickey Mousing around. He's come in with a major force, has 1 turn popped this. The movement to the Morvarks was a surprise. The initial attack landed on end. But the main attack then came on Satis, so Satis probably wasn't even expecting it. We've got all the siege chaff, which had just finished sieging Atlantis, coming forward, presumably to come break through and siege Satis. Meanwhile, he's going to probably expand down here, and if I'm probably even just take this lake. Now, if he takes the lake, he's probably going to have to ford it to trace income, but, why not? So that my expectation, this group's probably going to come down here, hit either one of these provinces, which, again, that's going to be hard for N to predict. But if he does, great for him. And, yeah, these guys are going to keep raiding down this way. So, yeah, he's probably going to raid here and here this turn. And he's just becoming a monster, like an absolute monster. And, what is Satis going to do? He's got to fight through Pythium to even come deal with Yis. So, like, if I'm Satis, I write all of this off as a loss. Yeah. All this stuff he's invested money in, basically built free infrastructure for Yis. Because he's not going to be able to recruit shit out of it. Now, all that being said, could he have even fought this? I think if you disrupt the formation on these guys, I mean, it's already not perfect, but if you have sufficient formation disruption and you had a stack of like 300 elite warriors, you might be able to get through it. But even then, you're still going to get repelled. And they're going to die really fast. I don't think 300 is enough. You might need like 400 or something. And I think they have an MR Bless. Yeah. So things like Mind Burn and stuff, which would be pretty good. Like if you had a Shaman Communion behind them. See, this is really hard to deal with. I mean, I think Elite Warriors are your best troop for dealing with Morvarks, but you're going to need a lot of them. And that's like the problem when you make Falchineers is you're not making Elite Warriors. Yeah, Skelly Spam's not going to be good. Foul Vapor's not going to be good. Assassinating's going to be really hard. There's really nothing he can do here. And there's nothing Pythium's really going to be able to do. And these Morvarks are going to kill things so quickly that, like, even though Pythium can drop, have his little Cell Slay Communion, how many is he going to kill before the Morvarks kill everything? And the answer is probably not that many. So I don't think there's anything that's going to stop Yis from coming in and taking Satis's cap. There's just nothing on the board in this region of the map that can stop this stack of Morvarks. And that puts Pythium, it's kind of interesting because we started over here with Ulm and we're kind of following the war this way and we see how events echo. So Pythium's going to now not even try to go for Satis probably. He's going to pull everything up to deal with Ulm. That's going to yield Satis basically naked. Just leave him wide open naked for Yis to come in and have his way with. Or her way with. Yeah. And you can be sure that Yis doesn't have naps with anybody. He's going to take this, then he's going to come over here and take this. He's probably not even... my bet is this army doesn't even storm the fort. It's going to go probably down here and head straight for Satis's cap. He sends like a few idiots in here to storm the fort. So anyway, major power plays on this portion of the board. Yeah. I don't know. I'm trying to think back all the way to Ulm. If you're Ulm, maybe if Ulm wasn't attacking, Pythium could have all-in and taken Satis's cap. And, told these Morvarks to get the hell out. I don't even know if that's possible. And I don't know if I were Pythium if I would want to do that. So you end up kind of getting bullied by these Morvarks because you're not really ready to fight them yet. Ooh, okay. Moving along, coming down to the Nabah end conflict. We see some camels running to very heavy resistance in the form of woodsman blowpipers, who apparently are the kryptonite for camels. Camels, man. Rip. And we had some plays over here. Ivy King's attacking. Yeah, another camel failed raiding. Like, I mean, come on. Camels are support. When you get camels, you're getting shitty archers. Right? Like, look at these guys. Just composite bow and the middle age doesn't do that much. For 20 gold, you're getting shitty archers with troop disruption. So if you run into anything that these are good support units. They're good at disrupting enemy formation. They can drop in, some arrows, which can be okay, especially if you have flaming arrows. But they're not going to kill anything of resistance, especially in this quantity. Anything of significant resistance in this quantity. And even the Indies have turned against Nabha. So now we can see the walls really closing in. And the time for Nabha to make plays, I think, is coming to an end now. They've now expended a lot of their troops, and it is now time for Jotunheim to go in and probably make the killing blow with... do we think this army can do it? That is the question. It's got a... His scout retreats. I'm not sure. You have a Beetle here you may have to kill. I'm not sure. I think when they consolidate this force and this one, they can probably take it. So I think they're going to wait a turn. And then we're about done with this turn, and we'll probably be about done with the episode. So we have to cover the monkeys. We've got monkeys clearing out the barbarian raiders. And again, we can see a lot of Atavi archers. I guess he's thinking he's got elves to his this way. He's got elves beneath him. And then archers are one of the ways to deal with elves. Maybe. Maybe. I don't know. When I think of ways to deal with Morvarks, I don't think of like 200 Atavi archers. But maybe I'm not thinking about it right. Could be that's the play. He's been doing interesting shit so far. We'll have to find out. He's got a few Tiger Riders coming in over here. And yeah, Bandar... I think if you... I don't judge Bandarlog for this. I think if you have good expansion and you get pretty big, which Bandarlog's pretty big, especially if he can actually hold this stuff from the Indies. I think going into like a middle game kind of like get the thrones around you and kind of chill out is okay. You don't have to play super aggressive because you scale well. But that said, I mean, you just compare him to like Yis right now. Like Yis is just making power plays, and Bandar's like, yeah, let's make sure these Indies don't take all our stuff. Also interesting. Look how aggressive Yis is. He's not even going for this throne. Like, I think a lot of... I know I would. A lot of players would be like, oh, I just conquered somebody. I have this big army of Morvarks around. Like, let's just take a breather and go, like, get these thrones, He's like, nope. There is chaos, and chaos is a ladder. Here we go. Yoink, yoink, yoink. Power plays. Okay, turn 22. So... anyway, I think that's it, guys. I hope y'all are enjoying the series. Yeah, we've got the world in chaos while Yis climbs the ladder. So we will see you next time.